Hi guys, welcome to another edition of Football Family Feuds, and still buzzing after the 4-0 victory over Everton. And so today I just want to go over a couple of talking points after the game. So Billy Gilmour once again gets all the plaudits. We're going to start having to call him Billy Goat, because he is going to be the greatest of all time soon. So get used to the name, guys, Billy Goat. Having seen his performance, a lot of fans are starting to get a bit carried away though. Two good performances, which I can understand why people are getting on that bandwagon and becoming his cheerleader, because he doesn't look out of place in this team. Bit of caution, guys. He's still young. He started off good, but as a young player, sometimes you don't expect the same consistent performances week in, week out. We saw at the beginning of Mason Mount and Tammy Abraham's career at Chelsea, it started off on a massive high before it kind of plateaued, dip in form. Abraham's injured now, but Mason Mount has kind of pushed his form back up again after that little dip. So with a young player like Gilmour, if he plays week in, week out, sometimes he's going to get a bit of fatigue. Sometimes he's not going to be as effective as he has been in the last two games. So we need to treat him with a bit of caution. But there's some supporters on Twitter. There's lots of arguments going on because of his emergence. Some people are disrespecting the efforts of Jorginho. Some people have said that Jorginho isn't in his league. Jorginho's rubbish. He needs to go. Load of nonsense, guys. Jorginho is a good player still, and he's got a lot to offer for Chelsea. Out of the two, who would I choose on form and who's better fit for the team? I'll probably go for Gilmour. But that's not to. I'm not rubbishing Jorginho. I just think that Gilmour has a little bit more in his locker to protect that back line. So let me just talk quickly about Jorginho. Jorginho came over from Italy, which is a slower league, after taking a little time to adjust. He had a good second half to last season, winning the Europa League as well. He's done okay this season. I think he's played pretty well. But his problem, through no fault of his own really, is he's not physical enough for this league. He hasn't got the athleticism to cope with the Premier League, because when he loses the ball, his recovery isn't as fast as it should be. He hasn't got that pace to cover the ground as quickly as he should be. Hence, when we lose the ball in transition, the opposing side can easily get at our back line. And that's why we sort of criticise Kepa and some of the defence. But if you've played football before, I've played in several positions when I was younger. When I was playing as a defender, it was brilliant when you had two midfielders who were strong enough to shield the ball before it actually came to you. If you're getting bombarded with attacks because the midfield wasn't strong enough, it makes the defender's job really hard. But having a midfielder you can sniff out the danger, plug the gaps, and cut out the passing lanes, defending becomes easy. And that's what Billy Gilmour does for us. That's what you've seen in the last couple of games, and that's why we've kept 2 clean sheets. He has sniffed out danger, cut out the passes from the passing lanes, plus he's great in recovery. If you saw it yesterday, we lost the ball, came back, tracked back, got the ball off Richarlison, started an attack again. Jorginho probably hasn't got that athleticism, that pace to have done that. He may have got back to Richarlison, but he probably would have given away a foul. If you look at Jorginho this season, the reason why he wasn't playing yesterday, was because he has had a suspension for clocking up 10 yellow cards. And those fouls are because he's probably a bit slower in the tackle, and the attacking player has just got that extra yard on him, so he commits the foul. Having said that, Gilmour needs to not play every single game at this moment in time, because you don't want to suffer from burnout. If you look at what Alex Ferguson did with Ryan Giggs when he first burst onto the scene, he put him in a few games, took him out a bit, put him in, took him out. Keeps a player fresh, keeps a player hungry. So that's what we can do with Gilmour. Put him in a few times, bring him out, then you can put Jorginho back in. So there's room for both of them towards the end of the season. There's 8 or 9 games. If Frank Lampard manages the games correctly and knows when to put in Gilmour for certain games, when to put in Jorginho, then this could allow us to have a positive end to the season. Jorginho is kind of one of these players who splits the fan base, and mainly it's because he came in as one of Sarri's players, and a lot of people saw him as Sarri's special child, love child, whatever you want to call it, because he was brought in to be the orchestrator on the pitch. So a lot of people who are still pining for Sarri, they are big fans of Jorginho, and in their eyes, Jorginho can't do any wrong. I even saw someone on Twitter today saying that if anyone should be dropped, it's not Jorginho, it should be Kante. Hello, Jorginho and Gilmour play in identical roles. Kante is a box-to-box player. Gilmour doesn't play in that box-to-box role. He was moved further forward when Reece James came on, but his main position is a deep-lying playmaker in that Xavi role. And then you got those who hate on him are the ones who didn't take to Sarri. So no matter how well he performs, or Jorginho I'm talking about, they still kind of hate on him. So, and players, supporters, the message to you is you can still, just because somebody has come in and you rate him highly, it doesn't mean that you need to hate on another player. There's no need for that, because you can love a player and still like the other player. You don't have to mean that you love a player, that means you hate the other player. So we got a kind of weird fan base. And that was kind of manifested yesterday when there was a match between Inter Milan and Juventus. You still had some people, Team Sarri against Team Conte, and saying, oh yeah, Sarri school Conte, and all this nonsense. So it's getting a bit silly now. It's just getting ridiculous. And the Team Sarri people, they're not only against Conte, they're also against Lampard. So any mistake that Lampard makes, then they are on his back. And it's as I said, the fan base is still divided. And that's why a lot of people didn't, it wasn't Sarri that they didn't like, it was the crazy people that he had defending him all the time. Those were the ones that they didn't like. Guys, what do you think though? Do you think Gilmour deserves a spot ahead of Jorginho, or do you think that Jorginho should come back into the side once he's returned from suspension? I believe, as I said, there's room for both of them on rotation. Experience is what we need as well. Jorginho's got that experience. He's got a bit of leadership quality about him as well. So I wouldn't discard of him yet. Billy Gilmour is the heir in waiting, ready to take up that mantle, probably next season. But for me, for his career to progress, we need to ease him into the side gently. Don't throw him in at the deep end. Don't think that he's going to be our saviour, because I know how this fan base works. 2 bad performances by him and people are going to be getting on his back and criticising him, because that's just the way the fans work today. So a bit of realism, guys, when it comes to Gilmour. From what I see, he looks like he's going to be a world beater. But I'm also expecting 1 or 2 average performances from him as well. And I'm going to be patient enough to see him through the rough patch when it eventually does come. Quick note on Willian as well. Willian was again talking in the paper how the club offered him 2 years contract, but he said he demanded 3. I wonder if that's lost in translation. Demand, okay, demand from the club. So he demanded 3, and the club's just stopped negotiations there. He's not going to get 3 years. He's never going to get 3 years. I don't know how he thinks he can get 3 years. As I've mentioned it in previous videos, is it just a ploy that he wants a new challenge, and so he's just saying the right things to the fans that he wants to stay when he really doesn't want to? Yesterday, his wife and kids came to the match dressed in red and saying that they love London, and it caused a journalist, I think it was a Portuguese journalist or Brazilian journalist, to say Arsenal, that he's on his way to Arsenal, because in the morning there were talks about him going to Arsenal. But he did come out and say today that he hasn't been speaking to any other clubs, and he's still a Chelsea player, and he'll give his all for Chelsea whilst he's here. So when he said the fact that whilst he's here, I think it's definite that he's going to be going at the end of the season. But what we saw with Willian yesterday, in one match, sort of epitomises his whole career at Chelsea. First 20 minutes, brilliant, outstanding, lots of pace, doing the right things. The next 15-20 minutes of the half, awful. He did one of the worst passes I've ever seen in my history, where he's got the ball, turned and passed it straight to a Everton player under no pressure whatsoever. Another one, an easy pass, again straight at an Everton player. Second half, he comes out, scores a goal, so everyone forgets about the bad moments that he had towards the end of the half. So he always does that. When he's going through a little bad patch, he goes and scores a brilliant goal, and then everyone wants him to stay again. But for me, over his career at Chelsea, over his 6 or 7 years, some good moments, some really dodgy moments, some outstanding moments, but a lack of consistency. He showed a lack of consistency in the match yesterday, lack of consistency throughout his career at Chelsea. Do you want him to stay, or do you think his time is up? Comment below as well. So that's it, guys. Just a little talk on Gilmour, a bit on Willian and Jorginho. So give me your thoughts, comment below, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Until then, goodbye. Like, subscribe, turn on all post notifications. Bye-bye.